It's a fall Saturday in the Garden State, and it's homecoming at Princeton as today the 17th ranked Harvard Crimson look to extend the nation's longest road winning streak as they take on the Princeton Tigers. And it's a battle of teams that sit atop the Ivy League standings at the midway point in the season, and in a year where for the first time ever the Ivy champion will play in the FCS playoffs. The winner of this one controls their own destiny. Harvard, the lone ranked team in the Ancient Eight. Princeton, meanwhile, has matched its win total from a season ago. Hi, everyone. Alongside Dave Giancola, I'm Cody Crushell. Dave, this one for the Tigers, coming off their first losing season in a decade. They're 2-0 atop the Ivy League standings. Harvard, meanwhile, in that 5-0 start, their average margin of victory, 45-11.
They have played dominant football, have the Harvard Crimson 5 games into their 2025 campaign, but Princeton, Penn, keeping pace in the Ancient Eight standings. It's a huge, tough test for the Crimson as they come into New Jersey on homecoming weekend.
For the Tigers on offense, they have one of the nation's most dynamic young playmakers and freshman wide receiver Josh Robinson. Earlier this week named to the Jerry Rice Award watch list. That honors the nation's top freshman at the FCS level.
And it's not easy to make an impact as a freshman in the Ivy League, but Josh Robinson has done just that. More and more touches week over week, and last week against Brown, 8 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown, 3 straight Ivy League Rookie of the Week honors.
Meanwhile, Harvard comes into this one with the nation's #2 scoring defense, trailing only defending national champion and top-ranked North Dakota State. In both of their Ivy League wins, they've started it off with a defensive touchdown.
This is a defense that has given up more than 10 points just once so far this season in their 5 games. They turn the ball over, they get after the quarterback, and really important, they don't allow opponents to score in the first quarter. They've shut out their last 3 opponents in the opening few minutes. Princeton's got to get out to a hot start.
As we get set for kickoff, we take a look at how these teams match up. 5 games in, I feel like we've got a pretty good sample size. Harvard, a top 5 scoring offense, the nation's #2 scoring defense. You look at the sacks allowed and you look at the turnover margin. Those are 2 areas that are key for the Tigers today, and that's been one of the biggest reasons for their improvement from last year to this year, hanging on to the football. And for Harvard, really impressive what they've been able to do.
The statistics are just dominant on both sides of the ball. You talk about sample size, 5 games in, Harvard has just looked unbeatable. But again, a big test here against Princeton, who again has already matched their win total from a season ago here in the 2025 campaign, and they've really found their stride on offense.
2 head coaches who know each other well. Bob Serace in his 15th season on the Princeton sideline. He picked up his 100th career win as a head coach a couple of weeks ago. And the head coach on the other sideline, we'll talk about it as the game goes on. Andy Orrick, who played at Princeton, coached at Princeton. That Bob Serace coaching tree growing pretty rapidly the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's been really, really impressive with Orrick at Harvard, James Perry up at Brown, Mike Willis over at Marist. So yes, Bob Serace has a coaching tree. He's been at Princeton long enough where obviously the impact has been felt. He coaches his coaches, and they've gone on to do great things, and Andy Orrick off to a hot start.
Speaking of hanging on to the football, 11 touchdowns through the air, just 2 picks, and you can see what the New Jersey native did in his only career appearance against the Tigers last year. Career high 345 yards through the air, 26 of 33, and 4 passing touchdowns. Harvard will start this one off. The Crimson, couple of storylines. Jaden Craig, who we're looking at, maybe the top FCS quarterback prospect in the NFL draft next year.
Yeah, we've got some NFL scouts here today in the press box, and it's all about #1 under center for Harvard, the Montclair, New Jersey native, back in the Garden State, looking to impress not only some friendly fans here in the Garden State, but also some folks looking at X's and O's upstairs.
Another storyline for Harvard has been the stable of running backs. See Andy Orrick, their head coach, he feels like they've got 4 running backs that could be starters in the Ivy League. Not sure exactly what happened. There wasn't I didn't see a flag, but they did back them up on the opening kickoff return, so backed them up 5 yards. It'll be Harvard starting off at the 23, and it looks like we're ready to go. Jaden Craig, first give of the game to the junior Massachusetts native, Exavea Bascon, who pushes up ahead for a gain of 2. Wrapped up by a player we're probably going to talk about quite a bit, Marco Scarano, who's 6th in the Ivy League in tackles.
He's all over the place, and had he not made that shoestring tackle, Harvard might have had a big gain on that opening run play.
Harvard, the last 3 weeks, they've had 3 different leading rushers, including Bascon. Second down and 8. Quick hit right side. Dean Boyd, the veteran, picks up a couple. Brought down by Evan Haney, getting the start at cornerback.
You see the quick release from Jaden Craig, and that's something Bob Serace talked about this week, and something that just hops off the screen is the decision-making from Jaden Craig. He's very decisive. You're not going to see him waffling too much. Goes through his progressions quickly and makes a quick decision. Defensively,
Princeton without 2 of their opening day starters, or expected opening day starters in the secondary, and Taj Owens and Glennie Cross, a safety and a cornerback. Third down and 5 at the 28. Empty backfield for the senior quarterback, Craig. Tigers rush 5 out to the left side, and the pass is broken up by Torian Roberts, who's looking for Jordan Harris out of the backfield. Princeton with a great defensive stand, and Harvard goes 3 and out.
Listen, if you're going to defer the opening kickoff, you win the toss, you give it to a powerful offense. Nothing better than getting the ball back quickly, and tremendous coverage by Roberts, staying step for step and then getting a hand in there. Textbook.
Torian Roberts had an interception last week, one of 3 interceptions and 4 takeaways by the Princeton defense. Roberts, just a junior, 5 picks in 15 career games. Dylan Fingers punts it away. Robinson nearly muffs it. Flag's going to come in for kick-catch interference.
You know, that one just hung up there, right? You try to time it when you're a gunner going down the field, and that one just hung up there. Josh Robinson was waiting for it, but contact was made before Robinson was able to make the catch cleanly. He did make interference.
The catch. Kicking team, 15-yard penalty, first down, Princeton.
Jeremy D'Angelo, our referee this afternoon.
And that's a big one, 15 yards. I mean, look at the field position. It was already going to be decent field position with the fair catch. Now they move up to the 45-yard line.
Good starting field position for the Princeton offense, led for the 6th consecutive game by Kai Cologne. First down, looking left, Roman Lorio left unmarked, and it's a quick strike for a Princeton first down. Lorio, the junior out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Talked about Kai Cologne. Princeton early in the season, it was close to a 50-50 split at quarterback between Cologne, who missed a good portion of last year with an injury, and Blaine Hippa. 2 senior captains. Hippa started 9 of the 10 games a season ago. Heavy dose of Kai Cologne last week, and speaking of a heavy dose, Ethan Clark, coming off a career day, picks up 3 on the first down carry before he's brought down by Fed.
And it's been a good stable in the backfield for both of these teams, as there's a whistle for a Tiger who's down after the play.
There's an injured Princeton Tiger. It looks like left tackle Cooper Coors, who left last week's game with an injury. We weren't sure if we were going to see Cooper Coors. He's a senior out of Indianapolis. After the 3-yard run, it'll bring up 2nd down and 7. And we'll step away as they tend to the Tigers' junior left tackle. Quarter homecoming here in Princeton. No score with Princeton on offense as we send it down to the sideline. The 3rd member of our team, Steven Cusimano.
Yeah, Cody, homecoming here at Princeton, obviously not just for the Tigers and their alums, but also for the other head coach, Andy Aubrick. Played at Princeton, coached at Princeton. His wife is from New Jersey, and he hasn't been back here since he left the coaching staff in 2019. And he said he got his coaching PhD from Coach Schiano at Rutgers after he left. It's the first time he's been back since, and even on the roster side of things, 6 players who hail from the Garden State, including the quarterback Jaden Craig. You got to feel he's looking to make a good impression on this game early on.
Yeah, Craig certainly did last year in a victory against Princeton up in Cambridge, a career-high 345 passing yards. Second down carry was Clark, and that's going to bring up 3rd down and 3. Clark will stay in the backfield. A little bit of an interesting jump bunch formation right side. Handoff, Clark gets met immediately at the line of scrimmage and dropped by the junior outside linebacker, one of those 6 New Jersey natives, Sean Lyon.
Looks like 4-down territory, and obviously Princeton would have liked to get 1 or 2, knowing they were going to go for it on 4th down, but it'll be 4th and 3 after that big stop by the Harvard front.
Down at the Harvard 36-yard line, we talked about the importance of keeping it tight early if you're playing Harvard. Cologne out of the shotgun. Nobody back deep for Harvard in case they do punt it away. We've seen that from time to time. They're going to run a play. Here's Cologne, steps up in the pocket, avoids the contact, scrambles, and has the first down. Tremendous pocket awareness by Kai Cologne. And a flag comes in late. Flag is back in the backfield.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face. Offense, number 68, 15-yard penalty. It'll be 4th down. Number 8 of Harvard does not have to leave the game for a play because a foul caused the helmet to come off.
So the penalty was on Andrew Peterson, the sophomore who checked in at left tackle a couple of plays earlier for the injured senior Cooper Coors. That's going to take a 4th down and 3 and make it, see where they spot this. They're going to knock him back across midfield. So it's going to be 4th down and 18. And now the Tigers will bring on the Ivy League's best punter this year, Brady Clark. 46 yards per punt. That's 7th in the nation. He's got as many 50-yard punts as the other 7 teams in the Ivy League combined. He's been fantastic. Jordan Harris back deep. This one off the side of the foot. It'll take a Princeton hop inside the 15. Down at the 12-yard line. So that's a 40-yard punt, no return. And after both teams have to kick it away on their first drives, we're still scoreless.
Yeah, both teams trying to find their groove on offense after what was one of the more impressive plays we've seen Kai Cologne have really all season. The patience, the navigation of the pocket, and the athleticism to get the first down. It's all for naught as the illegal hands to the face knocks him back 15 yards and forces the punt. But now a long field for Jaden Craig and the Harvard Crimson to navigate.
Andy Orrick's second-year head coach. Stephen talked about it, long time at Princeton, first as a player, as an offensive lineman, and then as a coach in just about every conceivable role under Bob Surace. Craig on first down, scrambling, has a man open. That's Boyd across the 30 for a Harvard first down. The difference, Andy Orrick told us, with Jaden Craig, last year he was tremendous. This year, the ball placement has been elite, especially when he can plant.
Tremendous athleticism and accuracy on that play. Boyd bobbled it a little bit, but was able to get both hands in possession before stepping out of bounds.
Surprised they're not taking a look at it? 1st and 10 from the 31. Play action, clean pocket, firing downfield. The seam complete. Kazavensky, or actually that's Henry, off to the races, and he's gone for the Harvard touchdown. 69 yards, Jaden Craig to Cam Henry. Harvard, we talked about the big playability, and it's 6-0 Crimson here on the road.
Well, it's tremendous X's and O's from the Harvard Crimson as Cam Henry runs a little skinny post, and you talk about NFL scouts, that's a professional pass from Jaden Craig on a rope in stride, no doubt about it, for 6.
There were about half a dozen NFL scout place cards out in the press box, and you can believe they're here to see number 1 wearing white today. Extra point attempt by the sophomore Kieran Core is good, and it's 7-0 Crimson here on the road early in this contest.
A strong drive led by Jaden Craig, and it's a strike to Cam Henry, and the undefeated Harvard Crimson go up 7-0 against the Princeton Tigers.
Well, Well, 4 years ago on Powers Field, it was a battle of Ivy unbeatens. Overtime 3, Harvard looks like they've scored, but upon review, Princeton granted a timeout before the snap. Tim Murphy obviously didn't love that call. We fast forward, 5th overtime, first possession. Cole Smith to Jacob Bermelin for Princeton. Ensuing Harvard possession, Trevor Forbes with the breakup. The Tigers prevail. Controversial battle of ranked teams. Princeton that year, Dave, would go on to win the Ivy League with a 6-1 record. Harvard, game off the pace with a 5-2 mark.
That was one for the ages. I asked you before the game, was that 2 years ago? You said that was 4 years ago, which either ages us or just shows how quickly these seasons go by and how fierce these rivalries are as that kick goes out of the back of the end zone.
So Princeton, we talked about how you can't fall behind this Harvard team. They've been in a couple of close games early where they've been able to pull away. You go back to last week, looked like a lopsided victory, right? It was a 31-7 final score against Merrimack for the Crimson. That was a 13-7 game in the third quarter. So if you're Princeton, this is a huge opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity, and if they are able to score in this first quarter, they're able to do what only one other team has been able to do against the Crimson defense this year.
We didn't see a lot of Blaine Hippa, the senior lefty from Kailua, Hawaii, at quarterback last week, but he's in for series number 2. Design bootleg right, and he has a nice gain on first down up across the 30 to the 33 before Sean Line drags him down.
Hippa does add an element of athleticism, although we did see Kai Cologne run for a first down that was called back due to a penalty, but Hippa does bring that dynamic to the field.
For Blaine Hippa, the most important number, 0 interceptions this season. The lefty gets rid of it, gets hit, complete to the tight end Wassler, gets to the yard to gain, and it's a Princeton first down. Joey Wassler, the junior out of St. Xavier High School in Cincinnati, with his 8th catch of the season.
And we saw Roman Lorio with a nice catch on the first possession for the Tigers. Tigers need to get Josh Robinson going early, given his last few weeks and how productive he's been.
Kai Honda checks in, the give to the sophomore from California. Gets to the 40, gets hit, and gets dropped by Kirkwood, who's back in the lineup at inside linebacker after missing last week's game. Gain of 5 will bring up 2nd down and 5 for the Tigers.
You'll always take 5 yards on a run play on first down. Kind of keeps you ahead of the chains, ahead of schedule, and opens up the playbook.
Hippo rolling left, he trips, and he gets touched up by Jaden Kinlock, the inside linebacker, who will get credit for the sack.
I think there was some miscommunication on the play call there. There was a play fake, but no running back there to fake the handoff to. And then just kind of a broken play from there that the Crimson are able to take advantage of for a huge loss.
2nd and 5 becomes 3rd down and 13 back to the 33-yard line. Honda had motioned out all alone left, trips right for the Tigers. Harvard sends 4, Hippa gets eaten up and dropped in the backfield, and that's Kirkwood. Nuosu there to help him as well, the sophomore defensive end, and there's that swarming Harvard defense on 3rd down.
That's what Harvard does, and now you're playing from behind against the Harvard Crimson, which everyone's tried to do and has failed. But Blaine Hippa, you know, that's a quick sack. Really no chance to make a decision with the arm there.
Princeton 2 possessions, 2 punts. It'll be Jordan Harris camped out at his own 30. First punt by Clark went for 40 yards. This will chase him back to the 24 where he calls for the fair catch. 48 yards, no return off the right foot of the junior kicker, Brady Clark.
It'll be interesting to see how Princeton plays this 2-quarterback system today. Last week, we really saw the Kai Cologne show and a 40-point outburst by the Princeton offense. So for Blaine Hippa, he brings that element of athleticism, but if you're going to have to play catch-up football, Kai Cologne has been the better quarterback from a passing perspective and putting up points.
Harvard with a 7-0 lead. Last trip down the field, 69-yard strike right down the seam. Jaden Craig to Cam Henry. First down and 10, the give, DJ Gordon. Sophomore out of Indianapolis. He was recruited as a quarterback out of Park Tudor High School, where he had something like 5,000 yards his senior season. Still technically listed as a quarterback, but wanted to get on the field. They wanted to get the ball in his hands, and last week had a great contest, 104 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Sometimes you just have a football player on your team, Cody, and you need to get them on the field regardless of the position at which they're listed.
Man in motion, that's Kaufman. Give. Exavea Bascon couldn't get going. Picks up just a yard up to the 29 before he's driven back.
Good swarming tackle, but a nice job by Bascon of kind of second effort there to elude the first tackle and get some positive yardage.
You'll see that a lot. A ton of pre-snap motion in the backfield by Harvard. Another Princeton player down, this one on the defensive side of the football. Timeout for an injury, and for Princeton, that looks like Ethan Brown, the freshman defensive lineman out of Leesburg, Virginia. They are really high on him. 2 ways to look at last week. He got to the quarterback twice, was flagged twice for roughing the passer, which is obviously a no-no, but the fact that as a freshman making his college debut, he was able to get to the quarterback, that's a positive sign.
Yeah, he's got a motor, that's for sure, and probably just some coaching on how to reel that in, rein that in, and make it effective.
You'd rather have to do that.
Yes. Rather reel them back than not be able to push them forward, and clearly he can get to the quarterback.
Ethan Brown playing just his second game this season. Remember, if you play 4 games or less, you maintain the year of eligibility, which has really added a wrinkle for coaching staffs. But good to see Brown, the 6'2", 280-pound freshman defensive lineman out of Leesburg, Virginia, get up and walk off slowly to the near sideline. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
Huge play here, really, for both squads. If you get 3 yards, conceivably it could be 4-down territory. And for the Princeton defense, you desperately want to get the ball back. You do not want to go down 2 scores against the Harvard Crimson.
Jordan Harris was in the backfield. He'll motion out wide right. So empty backfield for Craig. 3rd down and 5. Good protection again, clean pocket. Craig steps up off his back foot, underthrown, and that's going to be a flag against Torian Roberts. Downfield in coverage was draped all over the intended receiver, Brady Blackburn, who's been their leading receiver.
Defense, number 0, 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
That was interesting because Craig kind of threw it off balance.
He did, and Roberts, I think, thought the ball was getting there early, and honestly a little bit of panic by Roberts getting in the face of the receiver too early, and a very easy flag to be thrown in the secondary, a no-brainer, and a smart move by Craig putting it up for grabs when the defense has his back to the ball.
DJ Gordon in the backfield midway through the first quarter, 7-0 Crimson. Craig fires. Rare misfire too high for the 6-foot sophomore Blackburn. Blackburn's a really interesting story. Last year, didn't play a ton, just 4 catches as a first year. Comes into this one, 4th in the Ivy League in receiving, 3 straight 100-yard games. Andy Orrick told us when he got here they had 2 open recruiting spots in that class. Blackburn from Canada plays 12-on-12 football. That's what they do up there, so you weren't sure what kind of competition he was playing against, but you knew he could fly. From the 44-yard line, Craig rolling right, being chased by Marcelino. He's going to try to get to the sideline and gets back to the line of scrimmage, picks up a couple of yards. So avoids the loss, picks up 2, and keeps it 3rd down and manageable.
Yeah, does a nice job of recognizing the pressure, rolling out to his strong side to keep the play alive, keeps his head up. He's looking to pass the entire time until he finally turns the corner for a gain of 2 yards.
Jaden Craig, after that touchdown pass on their second drive, his 39th career touchdown. He's now 2 shy of the Harvard career record held by Neil Rose, who graduated in 2003. Really impressive when you factor in that Craig didn't play as a freshman, wasn't the starter his entire sophomore season, hasn't played the entire second half twice this year. They go back in the direction of Blackburn, draped by Roberts. That time the coverage is clean. And it'll be 4th down and 8, and Harvard has to punt it away.
Roberts has had a tall task on the outside. He's been on an island, no help over the top, and they're trying to take advantage of that one-on-one matchup, but Craig has overthrown a couple. Roberts got called for the interference earlier, had a nice breakup earlier, so we've seen a lot of Roberts.
Josh Robinson camped out at the 20 as they bring in Dylan Fingers to punt it away for the second time. Princeton nearly got there. This hangs up in the air forever. And takes a beautiful Harvard hop down inside the 5. Still rolling, touched up at the 2-yard line. That's a 52-yard punt by the sophomore with no return.
I mean, that was a pop fly to short center and somehow ends up inside the 5. A beautiful punt, and Princeton with a long field to navigate if they want to get on the scoreboard here in the first quarter.
In their 5-0 start, opened the season with a blowout of Stetson. Most of the starters didn't see the field in the second half. Week 2, the Crimson held the Bears to 155 yards of total offense to open Ivy play. That Week 3 score a bit deceiving. Harvard led that one 45-3 midway through the third in Worcester. Week 4 under the lights, another defensive touchdown to open the scoring to go to 2-0 in the Ancient 8. And then last week against Merrimack in the non-conference finale. Harvard, a little bit of a precarious situation. We told you 13-7 in the third quarter before they put some separation between themselves and the Warriors. And as Princeton comes back on offense, they were backed up to their own 3, and Kai Cologne comes back in the game at quarterback.
Free play.
Flag is down. Cologne going deep, looking for Lorio, climbs the ladder, makes the catch. Roman Lorio's second catch of the contest. We'll wait and see what the flag is.
Should be offsides on the defense.
Defense, number 83. That penalty would be declined. The result of the play is the first down.
Christian Nwosu, the sophomore defensive end.
And you really see Kai Cologne coming of age as a quarterback and a field general at quarterback. The hard count, then the IQ to know he's got the free play and immediately throw it up for Lorio because nothing to lose and a lot to gain.
1st and 10 from the 29. Darion Murphy, who sat out last week in the backfield. Quick hit, first catch, Robinson. Nice gain on first down. Kai Cologne, so one of the issues last year, Princeton really for the first time in maybe a decade didn't know who the obvious starter was going to be at quarterback. 2 years before, when Cologne was a freshman and a sophomore, Blake Stenstrom, the Colorado transfer, really never came off the field. And then Cologne, it was neck and neck through camp with him and Blaine Hippa for the starting job, and he suffered an injury late. Hippa won the job and started 9 out of 10 games. Murphy trying to get to the sideline, and he is dragged down by Sean Line, who's been Harvard's leading tackler, but enough to move the chains for Princeton.
I mean, Princeton methodically moving the ball right now. You'd love to see it, and they're really coming of age on offense. And you talk about indecision at quarterback. Really, in Bob Cerace's entire tenure, it's just been reload and have a veteran great quarterback. So, yeah, these last 2 years have been a little bit of unfamiliar territory.
And in motion is Besselman. He'll settle in the slot on 1st and 10 from the 40. Cologne looking for Robinson, and the throw came a little bit late with Austin J. Guillory in coverage.
Guillory was all over Robinson there. But you just see Kai Cologne, the decision-making that we talked about with Craig on the other side of the ball and how decisive he is. Cologne, it seems, week after week is getting more comfortable with that part of his game. How about that bang, bang play?
2nd down and 10. Cologne feeling the pressure, checks down Murphy, picks up a couple.
Nice job by Murphy of
Xavier Agostino with the tackle, and we have a flag back by the quarterback, and that looks like it may be roughing the passer. Christian Nwosu.
And Nwosu with 2 costly penalties on this drive. And that's a tough one because Cologne hasn't fully let go of the ball. Nwosu's head is down, and yes, he does drive the quarterback into the ground, but may not know that he didn't have the ball.
Princeton will get a fresh set of downs as Ethan Clark checks in the backfield. Kaludis in as a blocking tight end. Give to Clark, and the junior rumbles up ahead for 8. Ethan Clark had a really good opener. 7 carries, 72 yards, a touchdown on the ground, a touchdown through the air in that opening day loss against San Diego. The next 3 games for Clark, he was under 2 yards a carry before breaking out last week. 120 yards on the ground, that's a career high, plus his 4th touchdown. From the 34-yard line, Cologne looking for Kaludis, throws it up, dangerous play, incomplete, and a very late flag comes in on the near side.
So
Ty Bartram downfield in coverage.
Looks like the call is going to be defenseless receiver. Now, the Princeton receiver had stepped out of bounds, so had he caught it, it would have been illegal touching downfield. This will be an interesting call.
2 of the least penalized teams in the country. This will be the 5th penalty here in the first quarter.
Personal foul, targeting, defense, number 21. The call of targeting is under further review.
They always take a look at that. Ty Bartram, who's the team leader in tackles, last year was a Bushnell Cup finalist. 1 of 3, that's the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year.
And
what
again,
do you see?
Targeting's all about the crown of the helmet. And I didn't see targeting initially. I don't see it there. Looks like side of the helmet. Now, unnecessary roughness, defenseless receiver, those types of calls is more along the lines of what I saw live. And, you know, that replay doesn't really change my mind. I don't think we're going to get a targeting call here. It's really a 6-inch radius at the crown of the helmet, and I don't even see the top of the helmet make contact with the receiver. So, again, I think it's unnecessary roughness, but not targeting.
Ty Bartram, the senior, 2 years ago as a sophomore, 6th in the Ivy League in tackles. Last year when he was a runner-up for the Bushnell Cup,
After further
3rd in the
review,
circuit.
there is no foul for targeting. Number 21 of the defense may stay in the game. 3rd down.
So no call for targeting and no penalty at all. 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's where actually getting called for targeting benefits Harvard, because it wasn't targeting. You don't go review unnecessary roughness.
Princeton has struggled today on 3rd down. So far this year, they've been pretty good. 44% coming into the day. That's 3rd best in the Ancient 8. 3rd down and 2. Clark in the backfield with Robinson in motion. 5-man rush. Firing Robinson, leaping, 1st down inside the 30. 2nd catch of the day for the 3-time reigning Ivy League Rookie of the Week.
And what's really impressive about Josh Robinson is his catches are for 1st downs. Right, when we saw him kind of burst onto the scene against Columbia, it was 4 catches for 73 yards, and all 4 were for 1st down. So you're seeing a freshman make big catches in clutch moments.
Down to the 29-yard line, Princeton with a fresh set of downs. Robinson, Tampa, Florida native, the first 2 weeks of the season had 2 total catches. He has 26. Cologne looking right, under, throws Lorio just a bit, but Roman comes back and makes the catch.
And again, this Harvard defense is tough to crack. Princeton, again, methodically moving the ball down the field, getting 1st downs when they need it. But I can't stress this enough. This Princeton passing attack looks completely different than what we saw in the first few weeks when they were really trying to find their identity. Looks like they may have found it.
Give to Clark on 2nd down and 3, and the junior has the 1st down. Princeton, right, if you're playing Harvard, you've got to run the football, and you look at what Merrimack did last week. I think they had something like 13 pass attempts and 48 carries. Granted, a different style. They have a lot of designed quarterback runs. Princeton had an extra offensive lineman. They had a couple of tight ends in the contest, and they picked up the 1st down. Cologne looking end zone, man open, Besselman, touchdown, Princeton.
Kai Cologne oozing with confidence here in the first quarter. Finds Besselman wide open throws it a little bit behind him. Number 3 makes the adjustment. And again, Princeton scoring in the first quarter against Harvard, something only one other opponent has done in 2025.
Esteban Nunez-Perez, the junior, who is handling kicking duties for the first time this season for Princeton, on for the extra point. And we're knotted up at 7 with 1:27 to go in the first quarter. Hayden Besselman hauled in his first career touchdown 2 weeks ago in the non-conference finale against Mercer. And he's got one to pull Princeton even here late in the first quarter in front of a great homecoming crowd.
Cologne play fake, 3-step drop, and no doubt about it, wide open. Besselman, just a slant route, some miscommunication from the Harvard defense in the middle of the field. That doesn't happen often. When it does, you want to take advantage of it, and the Tigers do, and they strike here on homecoming weekend.
Kai Cologne now 9 for 11 for 80 yards and a touchdown. 17-yard strike, the senior Cologne to the junior Besselman out of Upper St. Clair outside Pittsburgh.
Gives the Princeton faithful something to make some noise about. It's an impressive crowd on a beautiful fall day here in Mercer County. It just feels like football season. You add homecoming and you add a crowd like this and a rivalry like this, and it's the Saturdays that you kind of dream about when you wait for the season.
So all knotted up at 7. It was a battle between 2 of the top 3 teams in the Ivy, those 2 undefeated teams sitting at 2-0. This one returnable out of the end zone by Jordan Harris, has a seam up the left hash. And a nice return by the junior out of Ellicott City, Maryland. 1:22 to go, first quarter. Harvard will try to strike back.
I haven't visited this website, the don'tharvardrprinceton.com, but I have to take a look at what that banner means. Flying over the stadium.
So they'll spot it at the 25-yard line. First down and 10 for the Crimson. Jaden Craig 3 for 7, but one of those 3 a 69-yard touchdown to Cam Henry on Harvard's second drive. Pitch right with a head of steam. Harris upended across the 30. Casey Etienne Jr., the sophomore cornerback, Florida native, with the stop. Pickup of 8 on the first down carry. Jordan Harris in the backfield. Craig comes up behind his center, Killstrom. Second down and 2, playbook open. Bubble screen, left side. Henry trying to get to the sideline, and he's got a first down. Cam Henry now multiple catches in all 5 games he's played this season. He's an interesting story. He was on the team as a freshman, left to focus on track. A couple of his roommates and former football teammates said, "Hey, Coach Orrick, I think he wants to come back. You should go talk to him." And boy, are they happy he did. 13 catches now on the season.
Great productivity as the clock winds down here in the first quarter.
First down and 10 from the 38, maybe the final play of the quarter. Here's an end around. They give it back to Henry, running left with a caravan. Has a first down across midfield. Had to shake the tackle. It's Sammy Lamont. A.J. Pigford getting to the boundary as well, and he's out of bounds with 1 second to go. As the first quarter comes to an end, we see a lot of motion pre-snap in the backfield. That's been a staple for Harvard this year, and it turns into a first down.
Really good play design and a lot of room to run for the Crimson there as they get a huge gain and a shoestring tackle. Saves what may have been 6 as he looked to tightrope the sideline. Jaden Craig put Harvard up early with a strike to Cam Henry, and Princeton answers Besselman for 6.
Here with Vikings guard Henry Bird, former Princeton player, graduated in 2023, and now you're a Minnesota Viking. What is this like being back for homecoming weekend?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be home. really glad to be here. You see a bunch of former teammates. Of course, see Coach Surace, and just to be back and just so welcomed here. It's a really special place.
Talk to me about the NFL lifestyle. You signed with the Vikings last year. You're on the active roster right now. A little bit of a weekend to yourself after being in Los Angeles a week ago.
Yeah, the timing worked out perfectly with the Thursday night game. Was able to come back and really get a chance to be here. It's the first time I've been back to the stadium since I graduated.
And you got to chat with Ross Tucker, another former Princeton football legend who was on the call for Westwood One. What was that like running into him?
It's funny. So that was the first time I've ever met Ross in person. I've talked to Ross countless times on the phone, texted with him, done his podcast, and he's really been instrumental with me, helping me through my NFL career. And it's funny that was actually the first time I got to be in the same space with him physically.
Well, it had to be special last month, being on the same field as your former teammate, Andre Yosevach. What was that like, getting to run into him on the NFL circuit?
It was so special. I was itching to tell him the whole week that I would be playing, but I didn't want to tip the hat with any injuries. But it was a dream come true. Just coming in the same class with him, just everything we went through in our 5 years together here to have my first NFL experience, be on the same field as him. It was funny when we were doing our pregame warm-ups. They were on one side of the field, and Andre was exactly lined up across from me. It was almost fated to be.
Fantastic, Henry. Great to have you back here for homecoming weekend, and best of luck with continued success.
Yeah, go Tigers.
On third down at 5, Exavea Bascon has a seam, has the near sideline, and has a Harvard first down deep into Princeton territory. How is it possible that Henry Bird and Ross Tucker had never been in the same place before this week?
It is hard to believe, especially because Princeton does such a great job bringing back alumni to talk to the students. But Ross has done a great job, obviously played professionally, but has made a name for himself in media. And I'm old school. I love listening to football on the radio, so I hear a lot of Ross and Henry and Andre facing off against each other. Two Princeton alums. What a great moment for those two.
First down and goal for the Crimson, who had a 7-0 lead before Princeton countered. Bascon trying to push the pile up the middle, picks up 3 or 4. Exavea Bascon last week against Merrimack, just 11 yards on 4 carries, and that was on the heels of a season-high 94-yard contest in a victory against Cornell that sent Harvard to 2-0 in the H&A. He had a really good season last year as a sophomore. 15 carries, 71 yards, and a lopsided victory up in Cambridge against Princeton. And now second down and goal from the 7. Motion man is Caden Kaufman. Osborne in at tight end, give to Bascon, running right up the middle. Met by a host of Tigers led by Caden Wright and London Robinson. Third down.
Huge third down for the Tigers here. It would be an achievement to hold Harvard to 3 points on the doorstep with how prolific they have been on offense. So it'll be interesting to see what the Crimson draw up. You talk about the motion that we've seen, and that can really confuse defenses, especially tight inside the red zone.
Logan Reska checks in at tight end, the big 6'5", 260-pound junior. Everybody lined up right around the hashes. Designed rollout. Craig looking, end zone, fires high over his intended target. Bascon incomplete. Chase Christopher with the pressure in the backfield, and it's fourth down. Harvard will send on Kieran Core in the kicking unit to try to take the lead.
I feel like we haven't seen a lot of field goals this year. It feels like it's 4-down territory everywhere in the Ivy League, but Harvard going to take the 3 points in a tight contest away from home in the first half. And I like the call of taking the points.
Kieran Core, the sophomore from Winchester, Massachusetts. At a Winchester High School, 6 for 8 so far this year. His 2 misses have been from 40+. Right-footed kicker sends it, and Harvard jumps back on top 10-7 early in the second quarter. Core now 7 of 9 to start his career.
Yeah, so Harvard, they take the 3 points and they'll lean on their incredible defense to keep the Tigers at bay. But Harvard comes to Princeton on homecoming weekend and they are up 3. Princeton
going up on top of, Harvard going up on top of Princeton here on the road as we take a look at the Ivy League standings presented by RWJ Barnabas Health, the official healthcare system of Princeton Athletics. Harvard, Princeton, Penn all 2-0 atop the standings at the midway point of the season. How about what Dartmouth did against Columbia at home last night? 49-3, the victory for the Big Green. And then early on in New Haven, Penn and Yale, it's Yale up by 3 scores.
Yeah, I mean, Penn has been dominant thus far, and Dartmouth has been very impressive. But honestly, a shocking score thus far between Yale and Penn.
Kickoff by Core, bounces out of the back of the end zone. He's been one of the best in the Ivy League at that. And Princeton will get the football at the 20.
And Cody, a huge opportunity for Princeton here, holding Harvard to the 3 points. Can they strike and find pay dirt? And it'll be Kai Cologne coming back out, which I love because Kai Cologne is finding his stride. That last drive was a great drive. Talked about 40 points last week against Brown. You want to keep that offensive momentum and keep them finding their identity.
Kai Cologne 9 for 11, 80 yards, and the touchdown strike to Besselman. DePrima in motion. Cologne being chased, fires. It's Kai Honda out of the backfield who gets just past the line of scrimmage before getting dropped by Henderson. Damian Henderson, last year's second-team All-Ivy. He's one of the best defensive backs in the Ivy League.
He certainly is. Really, the secondary for Harvard is tremendous. They all have interceptions, and really the lone captain, which is a huge honor for Harvard football, Ty Bartram at safety, really the general back there.
Honda trying to bounce it outside, shut down quickly. Jacinto Lopez, the junior defensive tackle, beating him to the edge. Kai Honda last week is first career 100-yard all-purpose yard game, 67 rushing yards, and his first career touchdown. Jacinto Lopez, first-year starter. They lost 3 starters, 6 seniors on the defensive line. This is a Harvard team. They lost 8 of their 11 starters on defense, and coming into this one, second in the nation in scoring and total defense. 3rd down and 9 from the 26. Princeton 1 for 3 converting on 3rd down today. Play clock winding down. 4-man rush. Cologne fires. Robinson skying to make the first down catch. Tackled by Jack Donahoe, the nickel back, but another catch by Robinson, and they almost always go for first downs.
Tremendous corner route, gets position, and you said it, climbs the ladder. Robinson only 5'7", but it's hard to overthrow him because he has a vertical.
Robinson, week 3 against Columbia, 4 catches, 73 yards. He was the first Tigers freshman with 70-plus yards in about 14 years. And he's done it twice.
And that's 14 years with multiple NFL receivers coming out of Princeton.
1st down and 10, Cologne. Working the pocket, running left. Fires, coming back, making the catch. Paul Keener for the Princeton 1st down. What impressed you most there, Dave?
Listen, the offensive line did their job. Cologne had to hold on to it for a lot longer than an offensive line should have to block, but Cologne moves to his left, not his strong side. Good patience, decides not to take on a linebacker one-on-one in the run game, patiently waits for the receiver to come back to him.
Some misdirection. Here's Wassler, the tight end, and he gets cut down by Henderson in the backfield. Loss of 2 on the second catch of the day by the junior tight end.
Yeah, you want to see Wassler going north and south and hit him in stride that way. You know, tight ends, big players, it's tough for them to get going and make a turn against a defender coming down to the line of scrimmage.
3rd tackle today by the junior cornerback Henderson out of Tampa. 2nd and 11. Cologne fires. Besselman found a soft spot in the defense, and he's down to the 40 for a 1st down. Besselman had his 2nd career touchdown on the Tigers' lone scoring drive back in the 1st.
They're going to give him the 1st down. The initial spot, thought it might have deserved a measurement, but we don't see those very often.
Measurements. We've been doing this, what, 9 or 10 years, and they've measured once?
Yeah. Jackson Green, receiver, out to the right of Cologne.
Green got banged up, didn't play most of the second half last week against Brown, but he comes in as the Tigers' second leading receiver. Bubble screen, they're going to look to throw it. That's DePrima, the high school quarterback. Gets to the perimeter, gets out of bounds. If you're a Harvard football fan, you know the name Charlie DePrima well. Landon DePrima, also out of Ramapo High School in New Jersey, his younger brother.
And really good decision-making by DePrima of, okay, it's not there, and he takes off and shows that he can run with it, and a good gain there on first down.
Well, if you're Princeton and you're going to break out a couple of wrinkles, this would certainly be the point in the season to do it. Misdirection, Honda on second down at 4 comes up just a little bit short. Landon DePrima was a high school quarterback almost by necessity after an injury. Last year, he had a 6-touchdown game as a high school senior 2 years ago. Also had a 477 passing yard contest.
Really
That's
impressive.
a nice weapon to have.
Princeton does a wholesale substitution here. Asher Weiner is going to take the snap with Kai Cologne split out wide.
3rd down and 1, designed run, running left, and Weiner looks like he's going to be short. Asher Weiner's been in there on plays like that. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns in 5 games this season. A big 6'4", 215-pound sophomore.
And they're going to keep both quarterbacks still on the field. Weiner, number 10.
Princeton,
Cologne, number 12.
The running game's been really good. Last week against Brown, their running backs averaged 7 yards per carry.
It's going to be Kai Honda.
Biggest play of the day so far.
And Weiner now out wide.
Weiner's been playing a lot of tight end. Honda in the backfield. Give to Kai Honda. Didn't quite need a yard. Harvard says they've got him stopped.
Looks like they do.
It was 4th down and a short yard. DeGreek the first to meet him, and it's a turnover on downs. Princeton had 3rd down and 1, and they get stopped short twice. Huge play by the Crimson defense.
And you see the power of the Harvard defensive front on those 2 successive plays, shutting the door. They bend, and they absolutely do not break on that drive.
We told you they graduated 3 starters and 6 players from the defensive line rotation. The one returning starter, the man who met him head-on, Alex DeGreek, the 6'4" senior out of Rochester, Minnesota, excuse me. From the 29-yard line out to the near side. That's Brady Blackburn, their sophomore receiver from Saskatchewan, with his 2nd catch of the contest.
Wow, what a stop for the Harvard defense, just as Princeton is getting going on offense, maybe trying to find the red zone, come away with some points to tie this thing up. Harvard says not so fast, and Jaden Craig back on the field.
2nd and 5 from the 34. Gordon in the backfield alongside Craig. Handoff, DJ Gordon. Flag comes in behind the play. Gets tackled at the 40, so that would be enough for a 1st down, but we'll wait for the call.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 97, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Junior defensive end Rocco Marcelino, and that'll be a Harvard 1st down.
Yeah, the hands to the face penalty, it's a big one. It's 15 yards. It's not a 5-yarder. So you take a look right in the center of your screen, just kind of a palm to the chin, and that's going to get called every time. A blatant penalty will move Harvard over midfield and into Princeton territory. You do not want to give this team free yards.
5.5 minutes to go in the 1st half. A 3-point Harvard advantage on the road. Great homecoming crowd here on a gorgeous Saturday in the Garden State. Bubble screen, Henry gets dropped. Torian Roberts blows it up behind the line of scrimmage, and that's a loss of 5.
What a read by Roberts. He sees it all the way. Henry can't even get his head up field. And when you see a hit that hard, you immediately just say, any flags, any flags? No laundry on that one.
We'll call it a loss of 3, so 2nd and 13, right around midfield. Gordon in the backfield, 3 wideouts for Jaden Craig in the Harvard offense. Good protection, time to throw, one-on-one coverage, and it's intercepted. Evan Haney coming back the other way. They were looking for Blackburn. Haney looking to cut it center. And Princeton with a big takeaway on defense in a 3-point contest. Evan Haney with his 2nd pick of the season.
Haney thinking about running it back. Instead, he'll run to the turnover bell and make some noise here on homecoming Saturday.
This Princeton defense doing something everybody struggled with, and that's make Jaden Craig look mortal.
What a catch! Princeton will get the ball back down 3 against undefeated Harvard.
So we will keep it here, 4:34 to go. 2nd quarter, and Princeton will get the football back. 10-7 the score. Harvard on top on the road. Kai Cologne today 14 of 16, 117 yards. First down give to Ethan Clark. And the junior who had a career-high 120 yards and a win on the road at Brown last week picks up 3.
How about the catch in the secondary? A fantastic job by Haney. Kai Cologne thought he had him on a hard count there.
Good to see 82 in the game for the Tigers. Charlie Rossi, who's been sidelined with an injury the past 3 games. Clark out of the backfield. Gets past the tackler. That's Lyons still on his feet down the sideline. 1 man to beat. It's Bartram. Touchdown Princeton, 51 yards. Ethan Clark. 2 of the best players in the Ivy League, Sean Lyon and Ty Bartram, had a shot, but tremendous blocking down the sideline. And Princeton goes on top 13-10 here in the 2nd quarter.
Great blocking, but great 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th effort by Clark. Would he get the first down was the first question. And then would he get the touchdown? He does. Princeton takes the lead.
Does that count as an angry run? Esteban Nunez-Perez with the extra point to make it 14-10 here late in the 2nd quarter.
If anyone can get an angry run, it should be a Princeton Tiger, given that Kyle Brandt is an alum. But either way, angry or not, Ethan Clark, he's happy now as he marches into the end zone to get Princeton 14 points and a 4-point lead. Princeton gave the ball back to Harvard on a failed 4th down conversion, but got it right back. Evan Haney with a huge interception. And then Ethan Clark. How about the broken tackles, not only to get the first down, but get the touchdown. And just when everyone thought it was Harvard and everyone else in the Ancient Eight, Princeton takes a 4-point lead here in the 2nd quarter. We've got ourselves a tremendous Ivy League football matchup.
And Ethan Clark, who has 4 rushing touchdowns on the season, adds his 2nd receiving touchdown. Had 120 yards on the ground last week in that road victory in Providence. That was a career high, and has his longest career reception. Goes 51 yards to pay dirt, and Princeton on top for the first time. Kickoff back to Harris, and that'll bounce out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. We'll take a break. Princeton with a 14-10 lead over first place Harvard here on homecoming. We've seen 2 long touchdown strikes. The first one got Harvard on the scoreboard on their 2nd possession, 69 yards, Jaden Craig to Cam Henry, and then Princeton just moments ago going up for the first time in this contest. 51 yards, Ethan Clark from Kai Cologne out of the backfield. Got ourselves a good one. 2 of the 3 teams that came into the day tied atop the Ivy League standings. More on the line than there has been because the Ivy League champion will represent the conference in the FCS playoffs. Jaden Craig's being, relatively speaking, held in check, but on that first down scramble picks up 6. Chase Christopher, the Tigers' leading tackler, on the stop.
Yeah, good little read option there as the quarterback takes it for a solid 6-yard gain on first down.
2nd down and 4 from the Harvard 31. Play fake. Craig escapes the pocket, tucks it towards the sideline, and that'll move the chains. Smart play by the senior quarterback.
Smart play, gets the first down and decides not to take on Marco Scarano. Also a smart move. Nice job of getting what Harvard needs to extend this drive. They'd love to take a lead before halftime.
The running back is Bascon. The man in motion is the tight end Gil Martin. With a head of steam, bubble screen right side, Cam Henry up the right hash. And up across the 45 to bring up 2nd down and 2.
Cam Henry can do so many things on the outside. We saw him get downfield and he can get open. He's a superb route runner, but he's also great with the ball in his hands in space, which you can achieve on the bubble screen like we just saw there.
4 catches, 79 yards for the senior from Missouri City, Texas. He's Harvard's leading receiver today. From the 46, behind the running back, Bascon shakes the tackle. Flag comes in late. Casey Etienne Jr. finally drags him down, but we'll wait for the call. Exavea Bascon, the Bay State native out of Swampscott High School.
After further discussion, the block in the field was legal. 3rd down. Correction, the result of the play was a 1st down.
That makes more sense. Let's take a look.
Take a look here. Yeah, not in the back.
That would have been a tough
flag.
flag.
That would have been a very tough flag.
Fresh set of downs for the Crimson. Looking to swing the seesaw their direction after Princeton went on top for the first time. 4-man Tigers rush. Craig fires far sideline. That's Blackburn. 2nd catch of the day for the Tigers, or the Harvard leading receiver. 3 straight games over 100 yards coming into this one.
That is the 2-minute timeout. This will be full media timeout.
2 minutes to go in the first half. This has been a good one between 2 Ivy League heavyweights. Princeton on top, Harvard driving here on Homecoming. Homecoming in Princeton, and a homecoming for a former Princeton offensive lineman, Andy Orrick, who graduated from Princeton in 2006. And then 2 separate stints on Bob Serace's coaching staff. 2011, and then a stop in the NFL 2012 with Greg Schiano with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And then you can see rose quickly once he got back to Princeton before a 4-year stint in Piscataway, and now his 2nd season in Cambridge.
Yeah, spent a lot of time between here and Piscataway building up the experience needed to be a great head coach. And A.J. Serace, Bob Serace's son, a quarterback on the Rutgers team as well.
Down the middle, Seamus Gilmartin, the junior tight end, with a 1st down deep into Princeton territory. First catch of the day for the 6'4 junior from California, who Andy Orrick said he's a mismatch. He's going to be bigger than defensive backs and faster than linebackers.
Yeah, what a throw and catch in traffic. Tight window, good completion, and a great 1st down to get Harvard inside the 10-yard line with 1:40 to go here in the half.
Princeton's going to hustle to try to get London Robinson on the field. They have 11 out there. 1st down and goal from the 7. Looks like the Tigers were able to get set. Bascon up the middle immediately, met by the senior safety and captain Nasir Hill. 2-time All-Ivy League selection.
Timeout. First of the half, 30 seconds in length.
Princeton will take their first time out. You wonder if that's to try to have time if they get the ball back, or if it's just to make sure that they have the right personnel on the field. Probably B.
Probably the latter. Yeah, Cody, I think this is a huge spot. They've been able to hold Harvard to a field goal here in the first half on a previous drive. They would love to do just that again. Big second down with Harvard on the 7-yard line. So Princeton, Coach Steve Verbit, defensive coordinator in his 40th season with the Princeton Tigers, would love nothing more than a big homecoming victory against an undefeated Harvard team. So he wants his defense set up here.
Yeah, you talked about Steve Verbit, 4 decades on the staff. Princeton's won 13 Ivy titles. He's been here for 8.
It's amazing.
Second down and goal from the 7. It will be Princeton football to start the second half, so a critical drive here for Harvard. Trying to take the lead back. They were up 10-7 at one point. Craig forced out of the pocket, fires inside the 5, and the catch, was he out of bounds?
Incomplete. I think they're going to say that he was out of bounds, came back inbounds to make the
official
catch.
threw the hat.
Yep.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Third down.
London Robinson doing a good job getting to the edge, setting the edge, and pressuring the quarterback, Craig.
Yeah, Robinson does a nice job moving east to west with a very fast quarterback. And you said it. Yeah, the telltale sign. When you see a ref without a hat, you know somebody was out of bounds.
Harvard just 2 for 5 converting third down. They came in at 43%, and now the Crimson will take their first time out.
Harvard, first of the half, 30 seconds in length.
This series dates back to 1877, so one of the most played rivalries in college football. 5 of the last 8 have been decided by 1 score, and it's been a 1-score game the entire way today.
Sometimes the history of the Ivy League and the rivalries, the numbers blow you away, especially the one 1877. It's amazing.
We got to throw my favorite Ivy League stat last weekend. Princeton on the road at Brown. So Brown Stadium celebrating its 100th birthday. Built in 1925, that makes it the 3rd newest venue in the Ivy League.
That's amazing.
It's kind of all you need to know about the Ancient 8.
That's all you need to know. Big spot here. Andy Orrick, he's been all over the officials today. Such a sharp football mind, and we talked about where he shaped that mind here at Princeton. Year in the NFL with the Buccaneers, and then up with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. He's seen football on every level, and he's got Harvard humming.
A great crowd on their feet here on homecoming in Princeton. Third down and goal for Harvard. 3-man rush. Craig fires, and it's batted down. Kyler Ronquillo with the breakup. Pass into the end zone looked like it was intended for Ryan Tattersall, the first year from Delaware. And Harvard's going to bring on the field goal unit to try to make it a 1-point game.
If there was a roof on Princeton Stadium, it might have come off if Ronquillo had made that pick.
He might have been gone.
That's what I think everyone
Harvard
in the
had
stadium
the
thought.
offense moving right.
Yeah. Yep. Great job, nevertheless.
25-yard field goal attempt for Core. And it's a 1-point contest with 1:05 to go. So now if you're Princeton, you get the football back, you have 1 minute and 5 seconds, 2 timeouts, and you get the kickoff to start the third quarter.
It's a great spot to be in. I mean, you couldn't blame him if you sat on the ball right now and went to halftime with a 1-point lead against an undefeated Harvard team. I mean, Princeton not only was the second team this season to even score in the first quarter against Harvard, they're the second team to score more than 10 points against Harvard. Never mind in a complete game. They did it in the first half. So everything, relatively speaking, when we came in looking at it on paper, Princeton outpacing expectations.
And even that stat, as good as it is, sort of undersells it, because the one team that's put up more than 10 points was Holy Cross.
Correct.
They put up 24, and at one point late in that contest, it was 45-3.
Right. And
so a couple of late touchdowns back half of the fourth quarter.
And Andy Orrick talked about what these big leads have allowed him to do, which is empty the bench and get people some experience early in their careers.
Princeton would love a return here, although Ivy on Ivy, you kick off from the 40, so we rarely see kickoffs playable, and this one no exception off the foot of Kieran Court. Out to the 25, Princeton leading by 1:05 to go in the first half. Kai Cologne having his best game in his, hard to call it a young career because he's a senior, but this is his 5th career start. 15 for 17, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. He just looks a little more comfortable each week.
And it is, in terms of his playing career, he came into the season throwing 1 pass in his career.
From the 25, 4-man rush. Looking right, man open, and it's broken up. Lorio, the intended target. Austin J. Guillory there to bat it down.
Great job by Guillory. And Lorio had already started thinking about turning upfield. But Princeton being aggressive here, seeing if they can get a chunk play.
Guillory had a fumble return for a touchdown in an Ivy League win a couple weeks ago against Cornell. Harvard's got 3 defensive touchdowns over the first 5 weeks. 2nd down and 10, Cologne keeping the play alive. And he's going to get out of the pocket and throw it away. 3rd down. Jake Darling on the pressure for the Crimson. Now if you're Princeton, you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Harvard's got 2 timeouts, 51 seconds to go.
2 timeouts, good special teams, and potential field position.
Bob Sorace in his 15th season as the head coach at his alma mater. Murphy, the man in motion in the backfield. 3rd down and 10. Cologne takes the snap. 4-man rush. They had him by the jersey. Fires, and it's intercepted. Jack Kirkwood, the inside linebacker, with his first pick of the season. Harvard will have great field position and a chance to take the lead with 44 seconds and 2 timeouts. Been singing the praises of Kai Cologne, and that's one he wants back.
Thinking about that play, one thing you wanted to do was a completion or a run play so that at least Harvard has to use a timeout. They're going to review the interception. It looked clean from our perspective live. Yep, looks like the hand is under it. The arm cradles it well, so that should stand, and Harvard should have the ball at the Princeton 32-yard line. But just going back to kind of situational football, you wanted at least a completion. Of course, a 1st down, if you're Princeton, would have been ideal, but even a sack there at least forces Harvard to take a timeout, and you can punt the ball away. The only thing worse than an incomplete pass there is a turnover, and that's exactly what we saw.
And Harvard's now got 10 interceptions. They came in 6th in the nation out of 126 teams in interceptions. And now at least 1 pick in each of the first 6 contests. And that's Kirkwood, who didn't play much over the past 3 weeks, sat out altogether in the non-conference finale last week against Merrimack.
Yeah, and Cologne, you said it, would like that one back. He's made such good decisions today, and you really do need to play almost perfect football from a really a decision-making perspective against a defense like this that has the propensity to turn the ball over and get to the quarterback. Cologne doing such a good job, but on that one, that's going to be a mistake he's going to look back on if they're able to convert here before halftime.
For Kai Cologne, just his 3rd interception in 6 games this season, so generally has done a good job hanging on to the football.
And defensively for Princeton, you want to play your game. Don't get overly conservative. Don't drop back. You know, you can look back at what the Giants did against the Broncos last week. They drop 8 when field goal range in the NFL is now seemingly 70 yards, right? You don't want to drop back. You don't want to get outside yourself. Play your standard defense.
The field of an interception has been upheld. It'll be 1st down, Harvard.
No surprise there. Worth noting, Kieran Core, his career-long field goal came last year against Princeton, and that's 34 yards. He has 2 misses this season. They've both been from 40+. So I think if you get it into that 34-35 range for the sophomore kicker, you probably feel pretty good.
I think you keep some help over the top, so you kind of play it down the middle, right? You don't want to put somebody on an island where if they lose a step, it's a touchdown, but you don't want to drop back and start playing a prevent defense just because you think you might keep them out of the end zone.
Bascon in the backfield. They've got a tight end lined up slot left in Osborne, the walk-on. Craig dancing. Craig hit, and he bounces it incomplete thanks to the pressure by A.J. Pigford, who had a couple of sacks late last week.
Great pressure by Pigford. Pigford's had a great season, some fantastic plays in the secondary. And if you're Princeton, you like to see this. The last thing you want is a talented quarterback with NFL scouts here to see him just sitting back and having time to survey the defense.
2nd down and 10. Harvard still has 2 timeouts remaining as they motion Osborne. Bascon off the left hip of Craig. 4-man rush. Rowland being hung on to. No flag. Pass is incomplete. Broken up by Tyler Morris, the linebacker. Princeton wanted the flag.
You could see it from up here that the jersey was being held.
Sekou Rowland, number 11. Third down and 10 for the Crimson from the 32-yard line. Sekou Rowland's been really good when he's been on the field in his career. Leads the team, 7 quarterback hurries. 3rd down and 10. Give to Bascon, snakes his way up the middle, has the first down inside the 10, takes a tumble inside the 5, and Harvard set up. Torian Roberts finally chased him down, but that's going to go for 27. Longest run of the day for the Crimson. With some pace, back to Bascon, picking his way right, shakes the tackle, touchdown Harvard. And the Crimson go back on top with 18 seconds to go in the first half.
What 2 incredible play calls by Harvard. Bascon doing the dirty work, and on the first one, great deception to take advantage of the secondary that was completely shifted to the other side of the field to account for 3 wide receivers out left. They decide to run it up the gut right, and there is no one on the 2nd and 3rd level, leading to an easy walk-in touchdown on the next play.
And on that second play, quick snap. Princeton never had a chance to get set or change personnel. So Harvard will go for 2 to try to make it a 7-point contest. Jordan Harris in the backfield, and Princeton will take one of their final 2 timeouts.
Princeton, 2nd of the half. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
This has been a great college football game.
Yeah, we're not even halfway done yet. Just when we thought we were strolling into the locker room, nobody in the secondary on that side. 1 corner because of the mismatch. They went trips left. So 2 safeties and a corner went to the left side of the field. Bascon able to get a huge gain on 3rd down, and then you said it, it's the quick snap back to the line of scrimmage, not letting Princeton get their defense in order, and a 4-yard touchdown for Exavea Bascon. Just when Princeton thought it was taking a lead into the locker room, Harvard will look to go up by a touchdown. What a turn of events in the last minute.
Andy Orrick said 4 running backs on this roster who he feels could start in the Ivy League. One of them, the veteran Bascon, who was a honorable mention All-Ivy selection last year. We see another one, Jordan Harris in the backfield as Blackburn goes in motion. There's a shovel up the middle, Harris, and it's a 7-point contest. 2-point conversion is good for the Crimson.
Great play call. Everyone's flooding to the right, and you kind of look back. You start thinking Patrick Mahomes when you think shovel passes inside the 5-yard line, and rightfully so. He does it so well, and
that's a skill set that'll play at the next level.
It certainly will. Jaden Craig showing it all today. Great job leading his team down the field. Obviously, Bascon will load up the stat sheet on that drive, but you always have to account for Craig, not only the arm, but the legs. So when he starts flooding right, that 2nd level goes, easy shovel pass inside to get the 2 points. And even more than what this does to the scoreboard, Cody, the momentum going into halftime, Princeton feeling so good on a high of highs against an undefeated Harvard team, and in the matter of 60, 70 seconds, the script completely flips to the Crimson's favor.
Harvard had an inadvertent squib kick early in the game last week. Let's see what they decide to do here. You figure probably just kick it out of the end zone. And that's what they'll do. Fair catch called for by Harris.
Now,
Princeton gets the football, you would think, come out to the line of scrimmage, take a knee, and get set for the second half.
100%. Worst case scenario just happened, right? Go to the locker room, you talk it over, and for Harvard, just the opposite. Best case scenario, you're happy to go into the locker room up 7.
Kai Cologne comes out, drops the right knee on the Powers Field turf. Harvard will not take any of the remaining timeouts, so we go into the locker rooms with Harvard up by a touchdown here on the road. A battle between two Ivy League unbeatens, and it's Harvard 21, Princeton 14 at the half. Stephen Cusimano looking to catch up with Harvard head coach Andy Orrick on the way into the locker room. Exciting first half. That was a fun half of football, Dave.
I'm exhausted. Can't imagine how they feel. 21-14 in a historic rivalry here with an incredible crowd on a beautiful day in homecoming weekend. As Andy Orrick makes his way over to talk to Stephen, what a seesaw battle through 2 quarters between the Crimson and the Tigers.
Great crowd, great atmosphere for college football, and as we get set to head off to halftime, let's throw it down to Stephen.
Here with Coach Orrick's really strong end to that second half, first half, Coach. How did that feel for you?
Yeah, we were really sloppy leading up to the end there, but we got ourselves in the right spot and started executing and basically turned a game that looked completely different and one that we're in control of here if we can come out and get the second half started right. So happy with how we finished. These guys understand situational football, and that's why that happened.
How valuable was it to get that first score, a big play to really set the tone?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. You know, Jaden threw a great ball and Cam was wide open and easy score.
Really evenly matched first half overall. What's the message when you head back into the locker room?
We are not executing at the level we need to. We are playing very sloppy. This game should not be as close as it is.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Harvard hasn't played in a lot of games like this. Their average margin of victory coming into this one was 45-11, but we've got a one-score game. 2-0 Harvard leading 2-0 Princeton by a score on the road. Stats and highlights when we get back here on the Ivy League on ESPN. Battle of first place Ivy League teams in front of a great crowd on homecoming in Princeton. At the midway point, it's Harvard with a 21-14 lead on the road as we take a look at our first half highlights presented by Graduate Princeton.
Yeah, seesaw battle. Harvard hot out of the gate with a huge 69-yard pass to Henry from Craig, and Harvard looked like it might go up 2 scores. Princeton gets the ball back, and they strike through the air with Besselman from 17 yards. Kai Cologne showing good decision-making early in this one. And then Evan Haney with a huge interception on an island outside and a good return to give Princeton some solid field position. And from there, it was just Ethan Clark kind of rumbling down the sideline, breaking a couple tackles. And before you knew it, it was 6 for the Tigers. And Princeton, Cologne would come back. Princeton thought maybe they could get some more points before halftime and did exactly what you don't want to do, which is turn it over with under a minute left. Harvard had 2 timeouts. It was 2 Exavea Bascon plays leading to the touchdown, and that's how we get to 21-14. Princeton so close to taking a lead into halftime and instead go down a full score.
Halftime stats presented by Ironworkers Local 399, local skilled craftsmen who are building Princeton's future. Take a look at the stats. Penalties, they calmed down a little bit, a couple early on, each team with 1 turnover. Time of possession, Princeton has really struggled there. You go back to the opener against San Diego when they were basically negative 18 minutes. That's been the key today, right? If you can keep your defense off the field, you're going to be able to keep it tight against one of the nation's highest scoring offenses. And Princeton, if you take that interception late out of the equation, Princeton had the dropped interception by Ronquillo that he had a chance to take back. Andy Orrick said it walking off, right? Harvard's up by a touchdown on the road. Normally you're pretty happy with that. It could be more for the Crimson.
It could, and it's twofold with time of possession because, yes, as this kick goes out of the end zone, yes, you're keeping Harvard's offense off the field, but it's also hard to achieve this time of possession against a defense like Harvard's. And Princeton's been able to solve them somewhat and put up 14 points in the first half, which very few teams have been able to do against this talented defense.
Kai Cologne, 15 of 20, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception in that first half. So for the senior, starting just his 5th career game, Cologne's now got 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the season. Ethan Clark had a long touchdown reception, 51 yards, which for a little while gave the Tigers the lead. They go to Clark, and the first carry of the second half goes for 3 yards for the junior. Clark in the first half, 6 carries, 24 yards, but that long receiving score.
Big drive here to try to get momentum back to the homecoming crowd after it was snatched away in the final minute of the first half.
It's a good crowd, the best of the season at home for Princeton, playing their 4th home game today, but they're quiet right now. 2nd and 7, quick hit. Jackson Green comes back to make the catch and is just short of the first down marker. 3rd down and 1. Good to see Jackson Green back out on the field after he was sidelined most of last week.
Yeah, 2-sport athlete, tremendous short stick defensive midfielder on the men's lacrosse team. Made his presence felt here this season with a couple touchdowns as a wide receiver, wearing number 4 in both sports.
5 games prior to today, 3 receiving touchdowns to lead the Tigers for Jackson Green. 3rd down and 1, Clark takes the handoff, cuts it back, has the first down and then some up across the 40.
You talked about Ethan Clark's season. Great start, a little bit of a lull for a couple games, and he has sprung back into form these last few weeks. Big touchdown in the first half and a great gain there for the first down to get Princeton a little bit closer to midfield.
Zayden Benson made the tackle on that one. That was his 7th to lead the Crimson. First down and 10 from the 43-yard line. Cologne changing the play at the line. They've got the tight end Wassler off the right tackle, poor Benny. On the ground, Clark again picks up 3. Ethan Clark last year really burst onto the scene week 4 against Mercer down in Macon. The Bears had the nation's #1 rush defense coming into that one. Clark rushed for 117 yards and a touchdown. That was with Darion Murphy and John Volker, their 2 leading rushers, not making the trip. 2nd and 6 from the 47, just shy of midfield. 4-man rush, Cologne looking right, one-on-one, a lot of contact. No flag comes in and it's incomplete. Austin Jake Guillory in coverage on Josh Robinson down the far sideline.
Officials are going to say good coverage. Sure looked like from here that Robinson was hindered in making a play for the football, but
that's a great play.
Great play. Great replay to correct what we saw live, or what we thought we saw live.
3rd down and 6, just shy of midfield. First drive of the 3rd quarter. Princeton just 3 for 7 on 3rd downs. Cologne gets blown up and that one falls incomplete. Is that a live ball? That's a live football. Harvard going for it. And they're going to say Harvard football. They said that's a live football.
Sure.
I've got to imagine they're going to take a look at this one. Sean Line with the pressure on the quarterback.
Harvard.
Bob Serace reaching straight up towards the booth. Kai Cologne feels the same way. They're going to take a look at this one.
I mean, didn't even enter my mind that his arm wasn't going
Previous
forward.
Play was expedited review to an incomplete pass. 4th down.
So still 4th down and 6, but Princeton will have the chance to punt.
And you'll take an expedited review anytime you can get it. You know, viewers at home,
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
We get the replay right away. They deliberate. I love an expedited review. But a tremendous stunt blitz to really go untouched to the quarterback for Harvard, and that's what they do so well. They draw up these schemes, get players unblocked, and even though it's not a turnover, it's a punt.
Brady Clark, the Ivy League's leading punter, just gets it away. Harris lets it bounce, and it's going to kick into the end zone. Despite the diving effort by the gunner, Paul Keener, the sophomore wideout. So that's a 54-yard punt, but it's going to come back out.
Huge opportunity for Harvard here after that seesaw battle in the first half to do what they've been doing this season, which is take a multiple touchdown lead against their opponents. And just when, again, Princeton about to enter halftime with a lead and they relinquish it in the final minute with the turnover and Bascon's tremendous runs, and then not doing anything with that first drive, giving Harvard a huge opportunity here, led by Jaden Craig.
DJ Gordon in the backfield. Jaden Craig, 10 of 21 in the first half, a touchdown and an interception. Running right, can't get to the edge, thanks to Marco Scarano, the Tigers' senior defensive captain. Marco Scarano, one of 4 captains for the Tigers, 2 on defense along with Nasir Hill. Bob Serace was telling us when Marco was at Avon Old Farms, before he got there, they ranked leaders on a scale of 1 to 5, and then they added Marco.
And there's an 11 out of 10.
On 2nd down and 8, over the middle, overthrows his intended target. Blackburn with Scarano this time pressuring the quarterback.
Yeah, right on cue. Untouched goes Scarano, and the smartest thing Scarano did was not follow through on the pressure, understanding that the quarterback had let the ball go, would have undoubtedly resulted in a personal foul.
This sort of feels like last week in the first half at Brown. Princeton didn't have a first half sack, but the quarterback wasn't comfortable, and that's the case here today. 3rd down and 8 from the 22-yard line. The running back is the junior Jordan Harris. Craig steps up. He's going to have to run, trying to get outside, and he's going to be a couple yards short. Knocked out of bounds at the 27 by Sekou Rowland. And on 4th down and 3, Princeton forces the punt.
Great job by Rowland. Obviously, it kind of results in the tumble and the tackle, but really to stop the forward momentum of Craig, because if he turns that corner unscathed, you never know what he can do in the open field. He's shifty.
The always dangerous Josh Robinson, 3-time reigning Ivy Rookie of the Week, standing back at the Princeton 36. Fingers to kick it away. This is a short punt. Princeton dumps out of the way. Another Harvard hop inside the 30, down inside the 25. And a skirmish away from the football. I can't believe that didn't draw any kind of a flag. Harvard's going to down the football.
One way or another.
Here on Powers Field at a conference game, battle of undefeated Ivy League teams. It'll be Princeton football when we get back.
Once again,
21-14 Harvard here early in the 3rd quarter as the Tigers are down 7 points, but homecoming weekend here, and there is some royalty in the building for homecoming weekend. Former Princeton quarterback and 1972 alum Roderick Plummer was honored at halftime, the first black starting quarterback in Princeton football history, and his last 2 years with the Tigers threw for over 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. He was honored on the field at halftime, out there for the coin toss, and it's not just any matchup between Harvard and Princeton. This is the same matchup as 55 years ago, the first ever starting matchup between 2 black quarterbacks in the Ivy League, when it was Roderick Plummer for the Tigers and Rod Foster for the Crimson.
Really great to get Roderick back here, and not quite a small army of supporters. Huge crowd, friends and family joining him pregame. Downfield, Keener in stride, deep into Harvard territory. Paul Keener, part of the Tigers' 4x100 relay team that set a couple of top 5 times last spring, and that's Kai Cologne downfield to Keener to start off the drive.
It's funny because you can tell he's a track star because he looks just like Andre Yosevach running that route, which we saw over and over. Huge play.
On the ground on 1st down from the 25, Ethan Clark wrapped up by Sean Line, who's got his team leading 8th tackle of the contest.
Princeton's defense giving the offense every opportunity here to go heel to heel with the Harvard Crimson, and what an opportunity after that huge play.
That's the second 51-yard completion by Princeton today. The first one was a 6 or 7 yard dump off that Clark did the rest of the work. That one right down the seam. Second down and 9 from the 24. Bounced, incomplete, looking for Besselman.
And Harvard brought the house there and got to Cologne and forced the short throw. Players were open, but that's the risk reward with bringing the house. You're going to leave folks open, but you're not going to give the quarterback time to find them. Besselman unable to get that skip pass.
35, Sean Line, the outside linebacker, Stockholm, New Jersey native. He's been a problem for the Princeton offensive line today. Third down and 9 from the 24. Clark in motion. Princeton just 3 for 8 converting third down this afternoon. Play clock winding down. They just get it off. 5-man rush. Cologne hits, stays on his feet, and then gets dropped for the sack. Jack Kirkwood, who had an interception in the second quarter, comes up with a sack, his first of the season.
Swarming defense gets to Cologne, and it's a big loss that's going to force the offense off the field here, and they're going to give a very long field goal a try. Princeton, seemingly everything is 4-down territory when they cross midfield. Not this time after that loss.
Esteban Nunez-Perez, the first-year kicker for Princeton, junior. This will be far and away a career long. This would be 46. Kick is on its way, and that's going to fall well short and wide right. The sack knocks them well out of Nunez-Perez's field goal range, and now Harvard's going to have good field position trying to make it a 2-score game, as we'll keep it here.
So hard to balance the power and the accuracy. Looks like just a little indecision.
Nunez-Perez connected from 38 week 2 against Lafayette. This one would have been from 46.
Yeah, he tried to get so much into it that the accuracy doesn't meet the power. So it's short and wide right, and Princeton down 7 gives Harvard the ball at their own 29-yard line.
Same score we took into halftime, 21-14, Harvard on top on the road. First down handoff, Jordan Harris. Knocked back to the line of scrimmage by a host of Tigers. Nate Stoll, freshman defensive lineman who earlier this season was an Ivy League Rookie of the Week with the stop. Talked about what Harvard's done, one of 8 remaining undefeated teams at the FCS level. They're ranked the highest they've been in the media poll since 2015. When they fell behind 10-7 earlier, that was the first time they had trailed in a game this season. And they're looking to extend the nation's longest road winning streak. From the 29, running left, cutting it back up is Harris, and he'll get dragged down after a gain of 4. Third down and 6 coming up.
The Harvard faithful traveled well on the far side of the field from our view to try to combat the homecoming crowd wearing orange and black. And I'd say they traveled from Cambridge, but we know there's a lot of New Jersey natives wearing crimson today, so some just maybe coming down the Turnpike or the Parkway.
They'll bring in Jones, the nickel back. Sekou Rowland checks in on this third down and 6 situation. Craig looking to go to the air. Rowland nearly got to the quarterback. They dump it off. Gilmar and the tight end. First down up to midfield. Tackled by Nasir Hill, but a fresh set of downs for Harvard. Gilmartin's a really tough matchup at 6'4", 235 pounds. Now 22 catches on the season. Craig was looking to take a deep shot. Now running right, Rowland couldn't wrap him up, and he's going to tiptoe out of bounds after a 5-yard gain. Not a lot of negative plays with Jaden Craig on the football field.
You know what you like with Harvard? They always kind of compound what they do. They get a big play, and then they get right back to the line of scrimmage.
Sekou Rowland, the senior linebacker from Philadelphia, down injured.
7:09. Thank you.
And we'll keep it here as they attend to Rowland at a Deerfield Academy. Philadelphia native walks off to the sideline.
And Roland almost got to the quarterback there off the left edge. Take a look here. Just dives. Tough to tell what happened, but the best news is walks off under his own power.
Harvard football at the Princeton 45 after the completion to Gilmartin. 2nd down and 5. Isaiah Bullock, the 240-pound running back. First time we've called his name, and he picks up just a yard. He was Isaiah Abbey last year, so not a newcomer, but a new last name, Isaiah Bullock. 6'2", 240-pound senior out of Kennesaw, Georgia.
Yeah, that's a big back, and Princeton's able to stop the forward momentum there. And a big 3rd down for both squads here. If Harvard gets more than a yard, they might go for it on 4th, but it's 3rd and 5.
7-point Harvard lead. Bascon in the backfield. 3 wideouts. Craig, clean pocket, fires, complete. Bascon gets cut down on the perimeter by Torian Roberts. Decision time for Andy Orrick. Looks like the decision is send Gilmartin and the offense back out there.
Yeah, that's the right call. I think Andy Orrick wants to put an exclamation point on this game right now.
At the end of the day, Andy Orrick comes from the James Perry, Sean Gleason school of offensive play calling. Bascon in the backfield. 4th down and 3 from the 43-yard line. First 4th down attempt today for Harvard. Craig looking right, looking left, sees a seam, has the first down as he lowers the shoulder into Roberts.
How about that from the senior leader, making no doubt about it as he lowers the shoulder.
This has been a heavyweight fight.
It has, and Roberts has been getting a lot of work on that side of the field.
From the Tiger 37, and Harvard jumped. Dean Boyd on the far side.
Offense, number 2, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
4th Harvard penalty today, 40 yards.
Yeah, Harvard just going after that left side of the field, and it's left Torian Roberts with a lot of work, right? He's gotten called for interference, but a lot of good tackles here today from Torian Roberts, handling his assignment quite well thus far.
1st down and 15. Tigers back off Scarano. Play fake, Craig. Dancing, gets buried. Marco Scarano with his first sack of the season.
And this is all about persistence from Marco Scarano. He fakes the blitz, backs off, then brings it, and you think he's out of the play behind. Take a look at the bottom of your screen, but he knows he's not out of it. Jaden Craig makes the mistake of running at Marco Scarano. He'll make you pay, and a big loss. Now 2nd and 21 after the penalty and the sack.
Scarano, the Tigers' defensive captain, along with Hill, fired up. Still the same score we went into halftime with as we have a flag come in. Busy day for Jeremy D'Angelo and his crew here in Princeton.
They've done a really nice job today.
Illegal substitution. Offense. Broke the huddle with more than 12 players. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Andy Orrick pleading his case on the Harvard sideline, but it'll back him up now. 2nd and 26. A huge opportunity for the Princeton Tigers, down 7 on this drive, to try to stop Jaden Craig from putting more points up on the board.
Jordan Harrison at running back. They fake it to him. Down the seam. Pass complete. Logan Reska with his 4th catch of the season, and that's going to get him back to the original line of scrimmage.
Absolutely huge play. Yes, 3rd and 9. You could call it 3rd and long, but all things considered, from 2nd and 26,
you got a shot.
This is 3rd and manageable, and like you just said, Andy Orrick, 4-down territory.
Talk about the depth, especially at that position. Reska 3rd on the depth chart at tight end and just had a huge catch. Craig looking right, man open. That's Blackburn. Got just to the mark to gain, and that's a 1st down. What a job by the Harvard offense after it was 1st down and 26.
What can you say? Tremendous job by the Harvard Crimson, and that is just so defeating to a defense when you think you have this offense on their heels, and in just 2 plays they eat that yardage back up.
Things I don't know that I've ever said on a broadcast, complete to the Saskatoon, Saskatchewan native. 1st down and 10. Craig looking to take a shot. Gilmartin gets sandwiched and the ball pops loose. Incomplete pass. Nasir Hill laying the lumber.
Good
Gilmartin's
accuracy.
Big body, 6'4", 235.
Good accuracy by Craig. I mean, that's a tight window, but it's just two Tigers are able to jar it loose.
Jaden Craig now 14 of 27, 199 yards with a touchdown and a pick. Gordon in the ball game at running back on 2nd down and 10 from the Tiger 26. Still looking for our first points here in the 2nd half. Far side, Blackburn's got it, knocked out of bounds just short of the 1st down marker by Torian Roberts.
These outside receivers do such a nice job of breaking off their routes and shedding the defender right at the line to gain. We've seen it over and over. They go, they just break it off, and you always say the receiver always has an advantage. They know where they're going. The defense doesn't, and when you can get more than that 1 step, it makes the game look pretty easy.
240-pound Isaiah Bullock in the game, and on 3rd down and 1, that's enough to move the chains for the Crimson. Kind of know what's coming when the senior from Kennesaw comes into the contest, and he'll head off to the sideline after moving the chains for Harvard.
It's a good weapon to have on 3rd and short, I'll tell you that. 6'2", 240, running downhill.
Haven't talked enough about what this Harvard offensive line has done. They graduated 2 starters, but picked up where they left off. And that Princeton sack earlier in the contest, just the 2nd allowed by this Harvard O-line this season. 1st and 10 from the 14, man in motion. They give to Bullock, who stayed in the game. Down to the 9-yard line. Gain of 5 on the 1st down carry. Bullock out of Sprayberry High School, Marietta, Georgia, had 3 touchdowns in Harvard's first 2 non-conference victories against Stetson and Holy Cross. Those games allowed them to go really deep down the depth chart. And Bullock's been a factor here today in the 2nd half. 2nd and 5, Kaufman in motion. Tight end in as a blocking back, give to Bullock. Brought down at the 6 by Chase Christopher. 3rd down coming up.
If you're Harvard here, you really want to play risk-averse football and just not turn it over, right? 3rd and short, it's 4-down territory, so 2 downs here. Just run it downhill. Keep giving it to Bullock, and it seems like eventually you're going to rumble into the end zone.
And it's a game where there haven't been a lot of possessions.
Right.
For Harvard, the goal right now, go up 2 scores.
Yeah.
Big 3rd down and 1. They've got Bullock in the game. Osborne, the tight end, lined up right. Craig on the keeper. 1st down towards the goal line. Tackled just short, but it's going to be a 1st and goal inside the 1. Torian Roberts brought him down. Right, you run the quarterback, you have the extra blocker, and when it's Bullock and Osborne, and you've got to get 1 yard, that's a pretty good recipe.
Yep, 10 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. See if they score on this side of the field or the other one.
They're going to let the clock run out, so we're right where we were at the end of the 1st half, 21-14, although Harvard will have the football. 1st and goal inside the 1 when we get back to Princeton. Take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard last night. All Dartmouth up in Hanover, 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground by Dartmouth quarterback Grayson Saunier. Elsewhere, Yale pouring it on to Penn in New Haven. Dante Reno, 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Nico Brown, who's got 121 receiving yards, and it's Brown with a 10-7 or 10-6 lead in Ithaca at the half. James Murphy, 15 of 23, and Ty Pezza for the Bears, over 100 yards receiving in the first half. Back here in Princeton, Harvard trying to go up 2 scores. It'll be first down and goal inside the 1. Isaiah Bullock in the game. They give to Bullock, and he walks in for the Harvard touchdown. First points for either team here in the second half, and the Crimson go up 2 scores here early in the fourth quarter. 4th rushing touchdown in 6 games for the senior Bullock.
How about that drive? Just a ton of clock, and you finish it off with a touchdown. That's exactly what the doctor ordered in a 1-score game, to now go up by 13.
17 plays, 71 yards, 9 minutes. Extra point by Core is good.
I thought that was a fast third quarter, and now I know why. What a drive, as Isaiah Bullock does a lot of the dirty work and ends it the way he deserves to with a touchdown. 28-14 Harvard as they look to remain unbeaten in the Ivy League.
Harvard, one of 8 remaining undefeated teams at the FCS level. You can see that number 17 ranking. That's in the coaches poll. They're number 14 in the media poll. 5-0 to open up the season. Blowout victories in the non-conference slate. Stetson and Holy Cross. Merrimack was a little deceiving because that was a 1-score game midway through the third quarter before they pulled away. Talked about what the Crimson has done this year. They come in with the number 2 defense in the country, the number 4 scoring offense in the country. Princeton about to get the football back after Harvard goes up 2 scores for the first time today. And if you're the Tigers, Dave, pretty much a must score, but you've got to make sure that you don't try to force anything.
Correct. You know, it's a tremendous defense, which we've talked about. You've scored 14 points. Now Harvard is daring you to double your point total in 15 minutes. It's a tall task. They're going to have to be very efficient. And when you try to do too much, that's when turnovers happen. And that's how Merrimack goes from a 1-score game to a blowout. Right now, game still in reach. But as you said, Cody, really big possession here for Kai Cologne and company to try to get 7. You know, at this point with what Harvard just showed with, you know, a 10-minute possession, you can't assume you have 4 possessions left in this game. So field goals aren't going to chip away. Got to get touchdowns here.
Princeton football from the 25. Kai Honda checks in the backfield. Princeton has 1 turnover today, and that led to that late first half touchdown by Harvard. This would feel much different if it was a 1-score game. So Harvard taking advantage of the miscue. Kai Honda coming off a career day, 67 yards on the ground at his first touchdown last week in Providence. 5-yard gain on the first down carry.
Yeah, sophomore leading the alma mater after the game last week. Josh Robinson's led the alma mater 1 week.
And we talked to Bob Sarace. They have no idea what the words are. Second down and 6. Honda lowers the shoulder, gets it up to the 31, so gain of 2. And it's going to be 3rd down and 4. I guess that's right, the positive, right? You've got guys that haven't been here long enough to know the fight song that are leading the charge.
That's right, they're making the impact. They just weren't expected to be in that position as early as they have been. But Kai Honda, Josh Robinson kind of goes without saying. You look at the accolades, but Kai Honda's got a very bright future in his 2+ seasons remaining here.
Used to just be a linebacker they would lift up for the victory count, and now they've been spreading the wealth. Big 3rd down and 4 for the Tigers in their own end. Cologne with a 4-man rush takes a shot. Robinson a step on his man, and it's knocked away by Damian Henderson. Princeton taking the shot on 3rd down and 4, and it almost paid off, but it's 4th down.
You know, it feels odd saying this about a freshman, but it's a catch you expect Josh Robinson to make because he's made so many big catches, and it hits him right through the hands, hits him in the numbers, and falls to the turf. He'd love to have that one back. You love the play call, but it puts you really in a tough position now, giving the ball right back to the Crimson.
After a 9-play drive, Princeton goes 3 and out. Punted away by Clark. Short punt. Kicks in down by the Tigers at the 38-yard line. So that's going to be a 32-yard punt with no return. Harvard will get the football back. Princeton's defense has spent a ton of time on the field here in the second half, and they need a stand. 28-14, Harvard on top. Here's Princeton's season. So far, they've alternated wins and losses for the most part. You look at the non-conference strength of schedule. San Diego, the preseason favorite in the Pioneer League. Lafayette entered the day atop the Patriot League standings. Mercer, a top 15 program, entered the day atop the SoCon standings. And for Princeton, a couple of tough road trips. Their 2 longest road games of the season the next 2 weeks, at Cornell and at Dartmouth. Princeton, Harvard, Penn coming into this weekend tied at 2-0 atop the standings.
Yeah, the Ivy League, you know, we looked at that out-of-town scoreboard. If the results hold and Harvard holds on, you know, and Penn loses to Yale, Harvard has that game of separation it's been looking for.
Jaden Craig looking right, fires complete. Ryan Tattersall, and that'll move the chains. Casey Etienne Jr. brings him down. Jaden Craig, last year up in Cambridge, a career day against Princeton. 345 yards and 4 touchdowns. That last one complete to Tattersall, the first year from Wilmington, Delaware. A very good quarterback at Wilmington Friends.
Yeah, comes from a football family, a big name down in Delaware. His brother plays for Yale.
Up across midfield to the 47. Bascon takes the handoff with a head of steam up the middle. Dragging the defense for a 12-yard gain, 13-yard gain for Bascon. He just doesn't stop.
Amazing, the motor. You talk about Isaiah Bullock running downhill. Well, let's not forget about Isaiah Bascon. He does a fantastic job of keeping the feet moving and moving a pile of Tigers.
91 yards on just 11 carries for the junior from Nahant, Massachusetts. Harvard, their last scoring drive, 17 plays, 9 minutes. And then Princeton goes 3 and out. That's part of what led to that 3-7 record last year. They just couldn't get the defense off the field.
Well, first things first is Princeton's got to stop the run and force Harvard to throw the football, because if they're able to keep it on the ground, this clock's going to go very, very quickly. Down 2 scores, down near 11 minutes to go. Harvard's offense is hard enough to stop, and right now they don't need to score. They just want to work the clock and keep getting first downs.
33 yards on the first 4 plays of this drive. They'll keep it on the ground with Bascon. Runs right into the arms of Sammy Lamont, the senior safety, a Massachusetts native. But a first down. And Xavier Bascon with that rush is a 13th of the day, over 100 yards. So for Harvard, their leading rusher the last 4 weeks, it's been Jordan Harris, then Bascon, then last week DJ Gordon. And this week back to Bascon, 3 or 4 running backs with different strengths.
And you said it earlier in the broadcast, Andy Orrick says, I have a running back room that could all start in this league. Princeton not far from it. I mean, they've got 3 great running backs as well that they rotate in. It's a good problem to have.
Here's DJ Gordon, and if you're the Ivy League, the thing that scares you, Bascon just a junior, Harris just a junior, Gordon, who got that carry, just a sophomore.
Craig will graduate as a senior at a Seton Hall prep.
Curious to see what happens with Craig, because he's on track to graduate but didn't play his freshman season. So we talked about it earlier. Expected to be in the mix when the NFL draft comes around as one of the top FCS prospects. Handoff DJ Gordon right up the seam, down inside the 10, and another Harvard first down.
Yeah, it will be interesting. You know, when you have that extra year, we saw what Jalen Travis did. Got his Princeton degree, went to Iowa State, gets drafted by the Colts. He's on the 53-man roster. You can get pretty creative, and you can, if you feel you need to, go prove yourself at the FBS level. Not sure if Jaden's going to need to.
Another methodical drive that started with a short field for the Crimson. First down and goal from the 9. Caden Kaufman, the man in motion with Gordon in the backfield. Gordon, misdirection right up the seam, drags the defense into the end zone. Touchdown. He took Marco Scarano with him for the 9-yard scamper. And Harvard extends their lead out to a 3-score advantage.
This is looking a lot like last week's Merrimack game, where it was a 1-score game, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And just like that, Harvard makes the most out of 2 drives in a row and goes up 34-14, looking to make it 35 with the PAT.
We talked about the running back room. Harvard today has 5 touchdowns, 3 of them courtesy of 3 different running backs, Bascon, Gordon, and Bullock. And for Gordon, he's now got 5 touchdowns in 6 games. Technically listed as a quarterback. Kieran Core's extra point is good, and that makes it 35-14. Harvard with 9:04 to go here in the 4th quarter.
You heard Andy Orrick before halftime. We asked, what's the message to the team? He said, it's sloppy football. It shouldn't be this close. Well, it's not that close anymore, folks. Harvard undefeated, looking like they may stay that way, 35-14. Harvard has been so efficient on the ground. Even a little bit of trickery earlier in the game. We saw it with the reverse to get outside. Exavea Bascon has been unstoppable. Triple-digit yards rushing. 2 huge plays before the half to get them the lead back. Isaiah Bullock has been a beast. They can do it every which way, and they have great depth and versatility. It's a lot of fun to watch.
See at the bottom what they've done today. That running back room, 212 yards, 3 of their 5 touchdowns have come on the ground courtesy of 3 different players. Every week it's been somebody else. Bascon, leading rusher so far today. He's got 101 yards on the day. And right, you have these long sustained drives where you keep the defense out there and you wear down the defense, and then you can bring in a fresh running back.
It's amazing. I mean, to have the depth, to be able to rotate 3 guys in and have each one be your leading rusher week after week after week. Like I said before, it's a great problem to have. Really, both teams today have it.
It was interesting when Andy Orrick got the job last year. He retained a good portion of the coaching staff. Both of their coordinators, Mickey Fine on offense and Scott Larkey on defense, holdovers from when Tim Murphy was the head coach. You have that consistency combined with a senior quarterback and a deep stable in the backfield. That really opens up the playbook. From the 25, Cologne rolling out, and he's just going to spike it at the feet of Darion Murphy.
And Andy Orrick's done a fantastic job. You know what's really hard? Taking over for a coach whose name is on the field that you're playing at home, right? Every time he's playing at Cambridge, he's playing on Tim Murphy Field. It's a lot to live up to, and he's doing it.
You're an outsider.
Yep.
You come into Harvard. You get hired over 2 Harvard alums who are on the staff. There's pressure to do well. He's 13-2.
It's amazing.
On the ground, Darion Murphy picks up 5 before he's dropped by Jack Kirkwood, the senior inside linebacker. Kirkwood had an interception late in the first half that led to a Harvard score.
As we take a look at Andy Orrick on the far sideline, a big 3rd down for his defense.
3rd down and 4. Princeton down 3 scores with 8.5 minutes to go. Quick slant, Besselman, 1st down. Just shy of midfield, brought down by Damian Henderson, but Besselman's got his 3rd catch.
Great read by Kai Cologne right off the snap. Besselman had inside leverage. Cologne recognized it and delivered a beautiful pass for the 1st down into a tight window, but there wasn't press coverage. He recognized it, slung it in there.
With Murphy in the backfield, they motion Robinson. Play fake. Cologne with 5 men rushing is going to take off and picks up 8 or 9 yards, brought down by Kirkwood in line.
Again, good recognition. You know, that internal play clock. He saw that gap and took it. And a nice gain. 2nd and short now. Down 3 scores, though. Clock not on the Tigers' side.
Playbook open. Robinson off to the sideline. They bring Charlie Rossi in at the slot. Darion Murphy in the backfield. Give to Murphy, running right. 1st down and then some. Down inside the 35 before he's dropped by Bartram. Darion Murphy giving the Tigers some good work here in the 2nd half. The 6'1 senior out of Floresville, Texas, who was sidelined last week in the road win in Providence.
Yeah, really good run there. And you know, one thing, Princeton has had the deep ball today. They've converted on a few. Some have fallen to the turf, but love to see him continue to take those shots, keep the defense honest, and that can maybe free up that 2nd level to allow Murphy, Clark, and Honda to continue to run the ball a bit.
They've got a couple of their best deep threats in there. Instead, they'll keep it on the ground with Murphy. Murphy's been effective, but at the same time, you're down 3 scores with 6.5 minutes to go.
Right. If you're going to run it, you want to do like a power sweep or something to get into space. Running between the tackles might be too late for that.
Murphy off to the sideline. Ethan Clark in. Clark, remember, had that 51-yard receiving touchdown out of the backfields. They're going to keep it on the ground. Clark running right. And a 1st down. At some point, if you're Princeton, you're just going to run out of plays.
Well, now you've run it a lot, right? You want to mix it up. You want to keep the defense honest, right? Maybe bait them so that the play action could work, but you can't just run the ball. You've got to take a shot here as Besselman goes wide out left and Robinson in the slot. Green out to the right. Got to take a shot here, maybe at the seam at Robinson, and see if you can get a quick score.
Running some clock. They're going to keep it on the ground again. Clark running right, and that's going to keep the clock moving.
And this is like 3 minutes of run plays.
This is befuddling.
Yeah, it's really putting yourself in a hard position. You have to strike really quickly to know you have a shot with a 2-score game to force a turnover. This isn't a 1-score game.
2nd down, Clark up the middle. And another 1st down as we drop inside 5 minutes to go. This is strange.
You almost expect a trick play or something to pop out here. Got to take a strike at the end zone.
First down and goal for Princeton at the Harvard 9, down by 3 scores. They're going to stick with Clark. And he gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. Kirkwood having a great day after he missed last week's game.
And not in a hurry back to the line of scrimmage. I mean, Harvard will take this all day. I mean, this is, if Harvard was on offense, this is what they would be doing, up 3 scores.
Murphy back in for Princeton, 2nd down and goal. They're going to throw it slant, looking for Besselman, and it's incomplete. Well covered by Damian Henderson over the middle. Princeton had a shot at it. That's the first pass they've thrown in a while.
It is. You'd like to see him take that exact shot 2.5 minutes ago, because the clock stops.
7 consecutive runs down 3 scores prior to that pass.
And not in a hurry-up offense.
3rd down, empty backfield on 3rd down and goal. Quick hit right side and a bouncer at the feet of Murphy.
They sent the house from the left side.
Clock continues to wind, and Princeton essentially waving the white flag.
Yeah, I mean, again, playing right into Harvard's favor. Again, Harvard would run the ball 7 straight times if they got it right now. They are up 3 scores.
4th down and 11, Cologne. Trying to get outside, fires, looking for Green. That was his only shot, and it's incomplete. Jake Darling, junior defensive tackle on the pressure, and Harvard with the defensive stop. Princeton with the turnover on downs.
Yeah, Harvard will take over at its own 11-yard line, and they will run the ball, and they will run the clock out if they can. Princeton does have all 3 timeouts, but down 3 scores. The math is really hard to do. 1 shot at the end zone on that drive.
This was a 7-point game at the half. We went scoreless through the 3rd quarter. Harvard, much like they've done a couple times this season, a little bit of separation in the 2nd half. 1st down carry by Bullock back to the line of scrimmage. Nasir Hill on the stop as the next snap will be under the 3-minute mark. And we've got an injured Harvard player down on the field, Derek Osmond, the senior right tackle. And that'll stop the clock with 3:02 to go.
Harvard's played a great 2nd half.
I'm really curious what the mindset was. There was obviously a plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're trying to break one and lean on the big guys up front to create a hole. But if you're going to run the ball 7 consecutive times, you've got to get back to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball. You know, that was minutes and minutes coming off the clock when, again, if it was a 4-point game and that's the goal, was to drain the clock and see if you can score and not leave Harvard with time. But that's simply not the situation that this game is or was in at the time. So Princeton, with those runs, again, the math of point differential and time on the clock, you know, the probability just absolutely spirals.
Derek Osmond off to the sideline, so the teams head back out onto the field with 3:02 to go. Harvard, barring a disaster, will extend the road winning streak to 6 games. That is the longest in the nation at the FCS level. Really hard to win on the road.
Yeah, they've done a tremendous job. It doesn't matter if they're in Cambridge or anywhere else in the country. They know how to take care of business.
They'll wind the clock under 3 minutes. Harvard showing some patience with Bullock in the backfield. Craig today 16 of 29.
Princeton does have all 3 timeouts.
Bullock, handoff, he's going to break it. Isaiah Bullock up across midfield, and he gets tripped up by the 45-yard line, but the burst of speed will move the chains.
I'm just glad to see Bullock hop back up because it looked almost like a non-contact injury the way he pulled up on himself, and we'll just call it the turf monster, and glad it's nothing more than that.
Hobbling a little bit after breaking that run. 48 yards into Princeton territory for Bullock.
A tremendous run, but I think the best news is when you see a running back pull up untouched like you see right there, a lot of times they don't pop back up. So great news for 27 and a heck of a run.
2-minute timeout, so we will step away. Harvard will have the football. 1st down and 10 of the Tiger 44, up by 3 scores. Pulling away here in the 2nd half as we welcome you back to homecoming in Princeton. Well, Dave, heading into this contest, 3 teams entered the day 2-0 atop the Ivy League standings. It was Harvard, it was Princeton, it was Penn. Penn down by a couple of scores midway through the 4th quarter up in New Haven against Yale. Harvard 2 minutes away from sewing up their 6th consecutive road victory. And it looks right now like when the dust settles at the end of today, Harvard will be alone atop the Ivy standings with 4 weeks to go.
Yeah, tremendous effort through 6 games, or almost 6 games, for the Harvard Crimson. Also be interesting to see where they land in the national rankings, as they should expect to continue to climb. And in a year where the Ivy League champion plays in the FCS playoff for the first time ever, Harvard loves that 1-game cushion.
On first down, the give is to Harris, and he gets dropped for a loss of 3 by Nasir Hill, the senior captain. Pleasantville, New Jersey native out of St. Augustine.
And, you know, kind of a secondary benefit of the champion, you know, playing in the playoffs is that we're not going to have these three-way ties anymore, right? Like, there's going to be a clear-cut winner. You're playing for something more than the last game of the regular season. And that's not to diminish all the Ivy League championships we've had, but there's definitely a little extra juice this year.
There were some questions, right? 5-0, the lopsided point differential. There were some questions coming into today. Is Harvard this good? Because the strength of schedule hasn't been top half in the country. They haven't played any really good teams in non-conference play. Princeton coming into this one a pretty good team at 3-2, and Harvard extending the lead here in the second half.
Yeah, 3-2, and you know, losses to two very good teams. And Harvard, you know, a tough test this week against Princeton. They've been passing with flying colors after, you know, really since 1 minute left in the first half. But then next week, that's one that's been circled on calendars coming into the season. Harvard and Dartmouth, that's a big one, especially after what we saw from Dartmouth last night.
49-3, the Dartmouth victory at home against defending Ivy champion Columbia. This will likely be the final play of the contest. Craig will keep it on the ground. Jordan Harris wrapped up by Rowland and knocked down to the turf on third down. Princeton's got 3 timeouts. They will not take them in the Harvard Crimson. That's got to feel good for Andy Orrick, the Princeton Tiger, longtime Princeton football assistant coach. And Harvard comes on the road. They pull away in the second half and make it 6 straight on the road. Harvard knocks off Princeton for the second consecutive season to go to 3-0 in Ivy League play. And barring a comeback on the road by Penn up in New Haven, it looks like on the bus ride home, Harvard will be alone atop the Ivy League standings with 4 weeks to go.
Yeah, it's homecoming weekend for all the Princeton alums. Just most of them aren't wearing a Harvard logo on their hats, but Andy Orrick's doing just that, coming back to his alma mater on homecoming weekend and defeating the team he played for and coached for so many years, the Harvard Crimson. A back and forth battle in that first half, but no doubt in this second half as Harvard reigns supreme and carries that undefeated record another week into an epic clash with Dartmouth a week from today.
35-14 the final score. It was a 7-point game at the half as we went back and forth a couple of times in the second half. Exavea Bascon, the leading rusher for the Crimson, who put up 259 yards and 3 scores on the ground to improve to 6-0 on the season and 3-0 in the Ancient Eight. Andy Orrick, first time he said he stepped foot inside Princeton Stadium since he left Princeton to go to Rutgers back after the 2019 season. His Crimson now 6-0 here in 2025, and he's now 14-2 as the head coach in Cambridge. As we catch up with our player of the game, Exavea Bascon, let's send it down to Stephen on the sideline.
Standing by with Exavea Bascon, 13 carries for over 100 yards. What was working for you today?
First off, I got to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. What was working was the O-line. The O-line was blocking it excellently. They were doing a great job out there. Just able to provide the holes, and I was able to just execute off of their great blocking. So.
And 3 touchdowns on the ground from 3 different players, including yourself. What does that say to the depth of your backfield?
I think it speaks to our coach, Coach Falaki. He's, since he's come in, he's done an excellent job managing all of us and playing all of us. And it's super just awesome to have a unit working all together. And, it's tough for opponents, to game plan for us because who are they going to focus on? They can't focus on one, so.
And this was a close game in the first half. Princeton had the lead in the second quarter. What changed late in that half and in the second half as well?
Yes, sir. I think it was just building off our head coach's statement of just being the more physical team. That's what he lives by, and I think it feeds off to us, that energy. So we come out and we try to play as tough football as we can, and we just try to out-physical them. And, from that, we just see the results, and that's being able to put up a lot of points on them eventually.
And obviously a big conference win. What kind of statement does this make entering kind of the final stretch of the season?
Yes, sir. No, I think it's just great for us to, feel some adversity early on and overcome that. And I think, it's just beating a really good Princeton team. I think they showed out pretty well this year so far, and being able to compete with them and just do that sets the tone, I think, for the rest of the year, and we know what we're capable of. But focused on next week now and going to just take a nice bus ride back to Harvard and,
Great stuff, Xavier. Thank you so much, and best of luck down the stretch.
Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you.
Xavier Baskin, our player of the game, presented by the Ford Motor Company. Andy Orick, victorious in his return to Princeton, and as Xavier said, a lot of praise, a lot of credit to go around in this 35-14 Harvard victory.
Yeah, a lot of build-up for this one with both teams coming in kind of unblemished in conference play. And could Princeton, make a statement with people looking at this? Is Harvard as good as their record is? Well, they proved it in this second half. The defense played outstanding football. You look at the running back room and the depth and how they're able to just put a fresh back in there and power to the end zone. Jaden Craig, one of the best quarterbacks at this level of football. We're going to see him on Sundays. And Harvard, they're going to do some damage. And if they can get through the Ivy League, maybe they can make a run as the Ivy League takes a trot into the bracket for the first time.
35-14, the final score as Harvard ruins homecoming here at Princeton. A hard-fought road victory for the Crimson. They extend the nation's longest road winning streak to 6 games and, more importantly, improve to 6-0 on the season and 3-0 in the Ancient Eight to stay atop the Ivy standings with 4 weeks to go. From our broadcast partner Dave Giancola and Stephen Cusimano and our entire crew, I'm Cody Crushell saying so long from Princeton, where the final score, Harvard 35, Princeton 14. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.